welcome to another edition of the NCBI podcast series. I'm June Tinsley, Head of Communications with NCBI, and today I am joined by my colleague Kyran O'Mahoney, who's the Chief Technology Officer with the organisation. Thanks, Kyran, for joining us.
Thanks, June. Good to be here.
Good. Today's discussion really is quite an exciting development for NCBI because we've been recently awarded funding through Rethink Ireland in the space of the whole innovation for technology for people who are blind and visually impaired. And it certainly supports our belief that technology is such an enabler, and it's certainly an investment that we certainly welcome. So, Kyran, would you mind explaining to us exactly what the funding will achieve for the organisation and for people who are blind and visually impaired?
Yes, no problem, June. I think this one, as you said, is a hugely exciting project for the NCBI. As you mentioned, like, technology is the key enabler for people with sight loss, and that's kind of been the mantra of my team. One of the things since I've joined is that I've noticed quite a lot of usage of smart devices, so Amazon Alexas and Google Home devices, and they're hugely important for people with sight loss because they're accessible right out of the box. So I knew that there had to be a way to, use those tools to provide access to NCBI services. So we've been working on an idea in the background called the NCBI Smart Hub. That we'd love to have been able to build, but obviously, development is expensive. So we pitched that idea to Rethink Ireland around their Social Innovation Fund, and we were successful in obtaining funding to build out this Smart Hub. So really, at its core, I mean, it's hard to describe, but it's hugely exciting and hugely simple to use. So really, what we're doing is we're going to build two things. We're going to build an NCBI Smart Hub, which is really a consolidation of information on sight loss. So, different types of that's readily available. We're going to curate that and add that to a single hub. And secondly, it'll allow people an ability to use their smart devices, so they can say, I'm not going to use the full kind of Alexa over and over because people's devices will start going off. But you can say, hey Google, or whatever the case may be, contact the NCBI. Or you can say, hey, Alexa, tell me more about a specific, area of sight loss. Or something really, really as simple as, I need support from the NCBI. And what this technology will enable us to do is, via those smart speakers or smart devices, it will automatically give you access to the information that you need. Or it'll allow you to interact with NCBI services. So throughout COVID-19, NCBI has been pivoting our service delivery model to a more virtual approach. But some of the feedback we get is that, there is a barrier to entry for technology for people with sight loss, particularly those who are unemployed or, might be still in education or, are retired. And technology can be expensive to procure. But one of the brilliant things about this project is, an Alexa or a Google Home, some of the cheapest versions of them are only about €40. And through purchasing such a cheap device will allow you to have access to the full suite of NCBI services and also additional information about your specific types of sight loss. So if I just remind you again of the example, so you pick up your Alexa or your Google Home, whichever is your preference, and you say something as simple as, tell me more about retinal degeneration or something like that, or tell me more about NCBI services, or, book an appointment with NCBI. All of that is then available. So if your appointment comes up in NCBI, you will get a reminder through your smart device, and then you'll be able to engage with NCBI directly, whether it's through my own technology support team or through the broader service provision in NCBI, all through your smart devices. So it's really exciting. I don't believe this is a project that's been undertaken before in the disability sector, in the sight loss charities that are out there. So it's one of the most exciting things I'm working on in NCBI labs at the moment.
It certainly sounds truly innovative now, to be fair. And I suppose while there are many other different apps and gadgets out there for people who are blind and visually impaired to make their life simpler, the description you've given us there is that this hub is really specifically designed for their needs, and marries very closely with what services we can offer them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, and that's really the beauty of this, is that, through COVID-19, a lot of our services are now available virtually. So really this is, how can we make them very easily accessible to people with sight loss? Because you don't need to have purchased a smart device. You don't need to have purchased a laptop. This is a €40 device that doesn't have a screen, so there's no visual element to it. So obviously, people with sight loss or limited vision can use it straight out of the box. They don't need to learn how to use speech software or anything like that. This is something that they can just say, hey Google, or hey Alexa, or whatever the command might be, contact the NCBI, and you'll be routed through to someone in the NCBI for support. And I think for me, we're in a position where the NCBI wants to reach as many of the people of Ireland with sight loss, and this to me is just one more of the barriers to entry that this kind of technology removes. So it's a hugely powerful piece of software that will run on something as simple as a €40 Alexa, Amazon Alexa.
True, because as you said, often cost can be a barrier. So something that is mainstream technology and tailoring that to their needs is truly innovative. And I suppose, would it be available for people who use a smartphone, or is it not accessible that way?
Yes, no, it will be. So I think because this is brand new technology, and brand new for not only brand new for NCBI, but I believe it's brand new for the broader kind of disability sector as well. We still have to figure out a lot of the ways that we can implement it. So if you do have a smartphone and you have the Alexa app on it, yeah, it will absolutely work. If you've got the Google Home app on it, it will absolutely work through that as well. So and it should work on desktop, but we need to explore that a little bit more. I think the key for us now is, we have this available pool of money to get this built. And what's most importantly is we pick out the areas of information, and we pick out the areas of our services that are the most impactful for our service users, because we want to make sure that, when we release this Smart Hub in next year, we want to make sure that we have the best parts of our services, and the most, needed areas of our service delivery are part of the NCBI Smart Hub. So we're still defining that at the moment. And I think, as much as I want to answer yes to every single question about where will this app ultimately run, what information on this app, we want to make sure that, within this next year, and as we build this Smart Hub, we go live with the most features as possible and the most impactful features as possible. So I think there's still some analysis to be done, but it's about tying down exactly what we need to deliver for as part of the Smart Hub. Perfect.
And I suppose another question that pops into my head is, I know some of your own team are blind and vision impaired themselves, but I'm just curious, will other individuals who presently use the NCBI Labs services through the virtual clubs or the live events, will they have an opportunity to feed into the development of this to make sure it's as responsive to individuals' needs?
Yeah, absolutely. As you said, the members of my team who have sight loss, I've sight loss myself, and we're at the moment looking for people to take part in the pilot and the soft launch of this product. So if it's something that you want to be involved in and you'd like to help us out with and give some feedback on, or even, just test the features as we build them, we're really looking forward to getting as much feedback from the sight loss community as possible. So if you'd like to take part in any part of this project, please do let us know. You can send, the best way, I suppose, to get in contact is to send us an email to labs, LABS, @NCBI. And we're actively looking for people with sight loss to be involved in this project. I think it's, the more we can make this as relevant to the obstacles that you have to either getting information on sight loss or, accessing NCBI services, the better. So we're really, really encouraging the broader sight loss community to get involved and reach out to us. And we know, from supporting people at the moment, we get a huge amount of questions about Amazon Alexa and Google Home at the moment, because the sight loss community use them quite heavily for, reading news or reading audiobooks or or even playing games or anything like that. So yeah, please do get in contact, labs@ncbi.ie, and we'd love to have you on board as part of this project.
And I suppose that's really crucial to it, isn't it? To make sure that it is as responsive as possible. So, and the way to do that is that it's been built with the end user already in mind. And as you know, throughout the work that you do, you're dealing with people who are at various levels of comfort with technology. So I suppose you need to factor that in as well.
Yeah, that's so true. I mean, I always think it's I say that so much, and I say it to so many people in the NCBI, and that technology is a key enabler. But one of the biggest barriers to technology is sometimes learning to use that technology. And we're finding more and more that mainstream technology, such as just a standard laptop or a standard smartphone, is what's being used. But that doesn't mean that if you get a laptop or you get a smart device that you instinctively know how to use that as someone with sight loss. So we spend, my team in particular, we're available for anyone that wants support using those devices. But the beauty of this project, is, you don't need an instruction manual. If you can say, hey, Alexa, contact NCBI, it'll work. That's what's so simple about this, because we've really picked a technology here that is accessible out of the box, and it's inclusive. So if right from people who are very, very young, can use the device, to people who are very, very old. There's no technology, great upskilling. I mean, if you can talk to these devices, they are accessible. And so they're not perfect for everyone. I don't think, but I think they're specifically for people with sight loss who they don't have a screen. There's no visual component to it. So being able to just ask Alexa or ask Google for support, or tell me more about a specific visual impairment or something, or to make an appointment or something like that, or remind me about my upcoming appointment with NCBI. All of that is inherently accessible and inclusive out of the box. And that's what we're trying to do as part of this project, is look at the technology that's the most impactful for people with sight loss, and then innovate around it. And this is to me, this is the first time NCBI has moved into a space where we are listening to what our service users are telling us. They're telling us we love these devices because they're inclusive. So why don't we, pivot our service to enable that? And to do that, we needed to build this application. So it's, we don't know exactly what this project will ultimately come to in terms of what specific areas of services will be available on it. But we're in a position now where we know that there's an appetite for the broader sight loss community to engage more around devices like these. So this is NCBI's recognition of that, and to be funded to build such an exciting project like this is really, really exciting. So I think just to come back to your original question, the biggest and most empowering piece of smart technology like Alexa and Google Homes is that you don't need to be trained on it. You don't, after the initial setup, the training is non-existent, because you can ask it, tell me how to use this device, or how do I use the NCBI Smart Hub, and the device will then read it back to you and explain how to use it. So it gives people huge independence, and that's so important, as the enabling piece. Because if you don't need to be trained on a device, and you don't need to have, come into NCBI and for us to train you on it, you can do all that yourself. That's incredibly empowering. And, not only can you use the NCBI Smart Hub, but you'll also use all the other areas of those devices out there that are, that are very, very empowering for people. Like something as simple as, every morning when I walk into my office in NCBI, I say, hey, Alexa, read me the news, and it reads me at the news. I'd stopped reading the news years ago because of the visual element of it. Whereas now, through, a 40-euro device that I leave sitting on my office desk, I have that back. So we want to bring that empowerment to interacting with NCBI services. So it's a hugely exciting project. Like, I keep using that over and over again, but I truly believe this is a big project for NCBI to deliver. And
the other exciting part of it is not only will it engage with the service users that we presently work with, but it is significant scope for NCBI to support and connect and reach out to everybody in the sight loss community, and to know that we've offered this resource to them, and in turn that they are aware that we are there for them should they need any of our services.
Yeah, and that's a critical point as well, because I think, each year NCBI wants to support as many people as needed, and that support can be a very light touch, or that can be a very intensive level of support. But with something like the NCBI Smart Hub, we're supporting people, virtually through usage of this device, but they might necessarily ever need to talk to someone directly in NCBI, but NCBI is still offering that support to them. And it's absolutely a mission of our organization. And we, as you know, June, we talk about this all the time. How can we reach more people with sight loss in Ireland? And I think there's probably even scope for this to support people outside of Ireland as well. So this really fundamentally is an enabler for us, not only for our service users, but it's an enabler for us to reach far more people than we ever would have before.
Yes, it's literally far-reaching. So no wonder you're excited about it. So,
I kind of feel like a broken record saying how excited I am, but I am genuinely hugely excited about this project.
Fingers crossed that enthusiasm and excitement lasts throughout the build of the hub as you progress throughout the year. So just to conclude, remind us when will it be available, do you think?
So we're hoping for the pilot to be ready for about May of next year, and that's an extremely aggressive timeline. So I would say, Q2 of next year would be an ideal time. And what I mean by a pilot is that wouldn't be available to the general public or the broader sight loss community. But again, I would stress, if you'd like to be involved in the pilot of it and give us direct feedback on it, do get in contact to labs@ncbi.ie. We'd really welcome support from the broader community on this. We expect to be fully, so that's the soft launch in May of next year. We expect it to be fully live by September of next year. So that would be, out and available to everyone. With IT projects, particularly one as important as this, and one that's never been done before, they can take a little bit of time. So we're hoping to get it done in somewhere in total about 9 to 10 months, which I think is realistic, but it'll be challenging to get done. But again, as I said earlier, I think if we get this done right and we get as many features available in the very first release, it'll be as powerful as possible. And then outside of that, then I don't think, it's like with anything in IT, once you've released it, you need to keep improving it. So the more people that use it and the more feedback we get, I think it's something that NCBI will continue to build on and keep releasing as the years go by. So this is it's kind of like the foundational piece, the version 1.0, but we do intend to keep releasing it beyond that.
Brilliant, because as you say, as time evolves, then more content needs to be curated and updated and installed into it. So it will grow as time goes on. Thank you very much, Kyran, for telling us about this exciting project. It's truly an honour for NCBI to be one of the awardees of the Rethink Fund when we know that it'll produce such a innovative development for people who are blind or vision impaired. So best of luck with the whole development of it.
Thanks, June. And if I just finish off and saying, just remind those people that would like to be involved in the project, please do email labs@ncbi.ie. We'd really welcome support from the sight loss community on this one.
Excellent. And I suppose just as always, if anyone is interested in accessing any of NCBI services, the best way to access them is to call the info line 1850 33 43 53. Many thanks again, Kyran.
Thanks, June. Cheers.